Eliza, I had a really uneventful pregnancy. Everything went well. There was no cause for alarm. Everything checked out normal. She hit all of her milestones on time, if not early. She could walk, talk, play.
Eliza was a typical active 2-year-old who loved playing, learning, and laughing. Health concerns grew in the spring of 2007. With an unstable gait, she could no longer walk.
When she was 14 months old, she had one eye that started kind of turning in, and then as the week went on, the other eye did it too, and within a matter of days her eyes were just completely crossed. So we took her to a pediatric ophthalmologist and said, she has sudden onset eustotropia. It's a muscle problem. We just have to go in and adjust the muscles, either tighten them or loosen them. So they did an MRI and it looked normal, so they weren't worried about anything in her brain, causing her eyes to have problems. So she had a couple of eye surgeries to correct it and, started walking the day after her surgery. So we just thought, problem fixed.
Despite these treatments, Eliza quickly began losing motor skills.
The way she walked always kind of bothered me. She's very stiff. She sort of walked like a child that has cerebral palsy. She couldn't run, she couldn't jump. When I had asked doctors about it, they'd say, it's just taking her a little bit longer because of her eyes, she's just set back a little bit. But it always bothered me in the back of my mind, and right after she turned 2, she stopped walking again, started crawling again, and we knew for sure, there was a problem. And took her back to her ophthalmologist, and he said, no, she should be able to run and jump, despite her eye problems that she had. He referred us to a neurologist, and started the long road of trying to figure out what was going on with her body.
Throughout 2007, Eliza was misdiagnosed 3 times. Despite treatments, her condition grew worse. Eliza continued to get weaker and weaker, and more tired. Her parents started to see a decline in her arms and hands as well as her legs. They could not believe how quickly she was declining despite their efforts with physical therapy. Nobody could explain why she was returning to an infant state.
And they recommended doing another MRI, and by then, when they put the MRI from 16 months before up against the other one, her brain had significantly changed, and we knew that it was, the worst diagnosis that we could have had.
On September 11, 2007, Eliza was finally diagnosed with metachromatic leukodystrophy.
MLD it's a really rare neurological disease. She lacks an enzyme in her brain that all the rest of us have that allows our bodies to metabolize proteins and things that come into our brains. So a buildup occurs and it's toxic. It starts shutting down other things. The coating around her nerves, it's called demyelination, where it's wasting away. So it's a communication problem between her brain and her body. Telling her body to move or telling her to talk, it slows over time until it's pretty much eventually gone. They just go backwards in time. She stopped walking, she stopped crawling, she couldn't sit up, she stopped talking. They lose the ability to swallow, so she has a feeding tube. They lose their sight. She lost her sight within a few months. Smiling is even hard. Her smiles now are just very, very tiny, and we see maybe 1 or 2 a month. It's just really hard for her body to do anything. Eliza's Library, it's a nonprofit organization, and we raise awareness for MLD. We collect new and used children's books and then donate them to various doctor's offices, children's hospitals, schools, just wherever we feel like there's a need. When you have these trials in life, I think you can look at things in a very negative way or a positive way. I mean, they're still going to be hard, but to me it seems like it's all happening in vain unless you have something good come from it.